I'm wearing some shades because we're getting into some shady business, broskies. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, man, this is crazy. This is the first time I'm like coming out and actually talking about this as like a dedicated thing on YouTube. So, yeah, what even is the whole thing about? We're gonna go into it. I know a lot about this stuff, about like both sides, and also there's crazy. I've been keeping up with it. There's all kinds of stuff going on. It's pretty nuts. What's up with this? Well, apparently, according to the current presidential administration, that being Donald Trump, what's her face, the Secretary of Defense, I think, I don't know, Department of Justice, CIA. Apparently, there's nothing going on with Jeffrey Epstein. It was all made up by the radical Democrats. That's what Trump said on his like personal social media. So he's saying that it's all made up and that it's all bogus. But just a few days ago, they were saying that they didn't have any files at all, and like for years they've been saying they have files. They've been saying on TV, and they meaning the people who are involved in Trump's administration now, who are in a position of power to release this stuff. For some reason, they're not releasing it. And why is that? Well, the conspiracy theorists are going crazy. And I use that term not to put anybody down, because I myself am a conspiracy theorist. Ask me about a million things. Ask me about Jeffrey Epstein, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. The running cohesive conspiracy theory about Jeffrey Epstein is that he was friends with all of these elites, which are rich people or people in a position of power, basically very high, affluent, influential people. People like political figures or actors or musical artists, things like that. You hear a lot about Diddy and Diddy parties. This is basically that, but for like political people. Yeah, so Jeffrey Epstein, what were we saying? He was a very powerful guy. He actually managed a lot of people's trust fund. Well, not like, I don't know exactly the term. It's not, I don't think it's trust funds, but whatever. People would give him money and say, hey, man, can you manage my investments? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, dude. Like, I know how to invest and stuff. I'll turn your money into more money. I'll manage your stuff, make sure nobody's stealing, make sure you're making profits. And, you know, I'll even throw in a little bit of extras. You can come to my parties. You can come on my yacht. You can, you can come to my private island. It's pretty sick, man. So a lot of these celebrities were like, yeah, dude, it's like a club. Like, I want to be like, I want to go to all these things. I want to socialize and continue to make moves. Some people do golf tournaments and things like that. Look at Donald Trump. Dude, my glasses are all crooked. It's really funny. Look at Donald Trump with all his golfing stuff. That is a strategic business move, because you get people out on the golf course, you get talking business, you get making deals. It's what it's all about. This was kind of a similar thing. However, there was a dark, sinister side to this thing. And when you go to these private islands, sometimes the parties would get a little bit out of hand, man. Out of hand how? Well, there's lots of drugs there. Things that, you don't necessarily want to be taking. There's all kinds of promiscuous activities going on. There's even rooms with little girls in them. That is the big, big crime with the Jeffrey Epstein thing. This is why it's such a big deal, because the overarching conspiracy theory is that this information is being hidden because it would reveal that lots of rich, powerful, influential people that we have come to love and trust or completely despise are all guilty of either being complacent in this activity by doing nothing about it, complacent, it's complicit, I think, whatever, or they did it themselves. And there were reports on the initial raid of the island that there were videotapes and boxes of like videos that were marked with people's names, the implication being that it is blackmail that is being gathered. So this whole operation, Jeffrey Epstein would lure people into his island. He would have them take part in some illicit activity that would become extremely bad if this information got out. He'd videotape it, and then this whole thing is supposedly run by the CIA. Some even say that, can I say this on live? I'm going to say it. I don't care. People say that he may be involved with Israel as well. And these are all conspiracy theories that may or may not be true. We don't know because we're not seeing a lot of information about this right now. It's all kind of trickling out. But the whole thing is developing. Trump has come out and really like hammered home that this whole thing is, we should ignore it and stuff. the current administration. Under Trump, the new head of the CIA, Kash Patel, and the DOJ guy, I forget his name, but I know what he looks like. He kind of looks like I don't know. He kind of looks like Minecraft Steve. They're all of a sudden changing their tune and saying, no, there's nothing wrong here. So it makes you wonder, like, what's going on? Are they not releasing this information because they're being pressured? Are they all compromised in other ways? Or, the CIA behind this? Is what's going on? And people are saying now, like, oh, Trump's on the list, so that's why he's not letting it go. Or it would be too destructive to society to let it go. Or whatever. But now we're seeing Epstein's ex-girlfriend, wife, I don't know if they were ever married or not, but she got 20 years in prison for helping to recruit girls to come to this island, like young girls who would, it would be like, hey, come join our modeling agency. And these young girls are like, oh, like, this is a great opportunity. The parents are like, oh, okay, like, yeah, let's make sure that, everything's cool or whatever. And then this woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, depending on how you say it, she would say, hey, I can get you a higher position. I can get you in with the whatevers. And then before they know it, they're on the island. And she was found guilty and is serving 20 years behind bars. Now she's suddenly coming out and saying that she wants the whole case re-looked at because she was put in prison and she does have a right to request a court to re-look at her case. And especially considering now that the government, Trump's administration has released more information about the Epstein files, it makes sense that she would come out and say, hey, like, there's all this new information. So it seems like it's pushing things along, but in reality, it's probably just going to push it all back and maybe have it fizzle out. A lot of times when the government lies to you, it's kind of like a subtle kind of like fizzle out. It's not an exact stop. I don't know. You can look through and find your own examples of that, but that's basically the whole Epstein story. Right now, the administration is kind of in a hard place. They don't want to respond to Ghislaine Maxwell exactly quite yet because they need more time to figure out what's going on. They're denying that Epstein did anything. There's a parallel theory to the whole Epstein involved with the CIA thing, that he was killed in prison to protect, the information. Some people say he killed himself. Some people say he was killed. I don't really think the method of death matters. It does. It does. Because if our own government did that to protect this information, then that means that they're some terrible people. But what I'm saying is, as far as the current controversy goes, the method of death is kind of out the window now, and it's more about why is the current administration not letting this information out? And yeah, that's the whole of it. We're just kind of watching this whole thing play out. And I think by the end of today, there was supposed to be a decision made on the Ghislaine Maxwell court redoing. I'm not really good on these court words. I'm currently taking I'm taking an information technology class, but I'm getting my master's in marketing. So I'm currently taking some business classes and learning some law stuff. I took a business law class. It was really interesting. Yeah, we've been talking about Epstein for 12 minutes. Really, I don't have much to say other than I personally think that he's a CIA asset. But you can believe whatever you want to believe.